And now for your host, Mr. David Dunn. Where you wearing any pants?
We're in quarantine!
Okay, my bad.
Hi everybody, it's your boy, Academy Award winner David Dunn, hitting you with a brand new video. Today, we're going to talk about none other than the Academy Awards! A few things to go over here before we get started. First of all, this list should not be confused with my best of the decade. In other words, I don't want this list to be misconstrued as my favorite directors, performances, or pictures of the decade. This is simply just my favorite winners from this decade and why they're my favorites. Also, this list is going to cover all of the Academy Awards, like the whole thing. This is going over Best Screenplay, Best Original Score, Best Cinematography, Best Directing, Best Acting, and of course, Best Picture. So with that, let's dive into all of the Oscar-winning gold that this decade has had to offer, starting with number 10. Parasite. 2019 Best International Film, Best Original Screenplay, Best Director, and Best Picture winner. In a time where foreign language films more or less have kind of stuck into their own corner of the Academy Awards, like they never really gotten the mainstream recognition they've deserved, Parasite was the first movie to break that mold and show that, hey, yeah, international films, they can compete with some major Hollywood talent out there. There have been 92 Academy Awards ceremonies, and 2019 is the first year a foreign language film wins Best Picture. But overlooking the foreign language films that should have been nominated for Best Picture, let alone foreign language films that should have won Best Picture, Parasite is such a deep, chilling, compelling, disturbing, darkly comical, witty, and complex exploration of classism and poverty. And it really deserved to be one of those movies that shattered precedents at the Academy Awards.
Number 9.
Actresses. You love them. You love watching them. Picking a favorite from this decade is impossible. But if I had to pick a performance this decade that really impacted me, one that really kind of struck me and hit me deep at home, I would have to pick Viola Davis from Fences. In Fences, Viola Davis portrays Rose, a very anguished and stressed mother that's desperately trying to mend the divided wounds between her husband, her son, and their family as a whole. Even in the most raw, real, painful moments of this movie, Viola Davis never fails to be that pillar for her family. And she really brings out a very authentic performance as this mother that's kind of split in several different ways here. Especially that one scene, especially that one argument where she has with Denzel Washington. You know the argument.
It's not easy for me to admit that I've been standing in the same place for 18 years.
Well, I've been standing with you. I've been right here with you, Troy. I got a life too. I gave 18 years of my life to stand in the same spot as you.
Yeah, great acting, great performance, great character. Viola Davis absolutely deserved this Oscar.
Number 8.
The 2010s. Great year for the Oscars. Toy Story 3 won Best Animated Feature. Inception swept in a good chunk of the technical categories. Christian Bale and Melissa Leo won acting awards for The Fighter. But if I had to pick the most deserving winner from that ceremony, if I had to pick one nominee, it would have to be Aaron Sorkin for Best Adapted Screenplay for The Social Network. This guy took a story about Mark Zuckerberg, the most boring human being in existence, and made a fascinating, compelling, gripping, witty, intelligent, well-crafted narrative about how Facebook came to be and how it affects our world to this day. If anybody can make a story about Facebook interesting, it is Aaron Sorkin. Aaron Sorkin carried that over to the finish line and just made an amazing screenplay out of it.
Number 7.
Let number 7 be a testament to all filmmakers out there. You do not need an overblown budget, really flashy editing, and over-the-top visual effects to make a movie exciting. Sometimes you can make a movie very exciting by taking two actors, one an unstoppable force, one an immovable object, and just slamming them into each other. Great example of that unstoppable force, J.K. Simmons in Whiplash. From throwing cymbals at people's heads, to yelling at freshmen, to pushing college musicians beyond their limits, Terrence Fletcher is a monster in this movie, and J.K. Simmons plays him with such conviction and such condescension that he really sells the antagonizing, intimidating aspect of this character. I'll tell you, man, in terms of one-liners, in terms of witty, sarcastic, snarky comments, J.K. Simmons is like the Energizer Bunny. He just keeps on going.
You give a calculator to a retard, he's going to try to turn on a TV with it. Unfortunately, this is not a Bette Midler concert. We will not be serving cosmopolitans in baked Alaska, so just play faster than you give f***ing hand jobs, will you please? And get the f*** out of my sight before I demolish you. Stage right, in order, now. I can still f***ing see you, mini-me.
Great character, great actor, great performance. You've earned this one, J. Jonah Jameson.
Number 6.
Back to the actresses, and again, just like earlier in this list, picking a favorite from the whole decade is very difficult. But even with all the Meryl Streeps, Julianne Moores, and Cate Blanchetts winning Oscars left and right this decade, there was one performance that genuinely stuck out with me the most. And that was Lupita Nyongo from 12 Years a Slave. And Lupita Nyongo is amazing in this movie for several reasons. For one thing, her accent is on point. She expresses a wide range of emotions. She's passionate, gripping, compelling, heartfelt, emotional. She's absolutely a scene stealer in this movie, and despite how little she appears in the movie, every scene she's in, she completely steals the spotlight. But the thing that's especially impressive about Lupita Nyong'o in this case, this is her first film. Not her first win, not her first nomination, not even her first major breakthrough in Hollywood. This is literally the start of her acting career, and this is the performance she delivers.
500 pounds of cotton, day in, day out, more than any man here. And for that I will be clean.
The fact that arguably the best female performance this decade didn't come from a Meryl Streep or a Frances McDormand, but from a no-name that literally just started out of nowhere. That's unbelievably encouraging for the future of movie making. Lupita Nyong'o is truly an inspiration to all out there.
Number 5.
If anybody deserved an Oscar break this decade, it was definitely my man Leonardo DiCaprio. Whenever anybody thinks of the one actor that was the most overlooked for an Oscar or even a nomination, Leonardo DiCaprio is definitely the guy they go to. Thank God he finally won for The Revenant, because I don't know what he would have done if he lost that year as well. The performance itself is so impressive. I mean, especially for the fact that Hugh Glass doesn't even speak a lot in this movie. A lot of Leonardo DiCaprio's performance in the movie is just based off of raw expression, and he does it so well that you just completely sympathize with this tortured, anguished man. Part of me honestly wonders if Leonardo DiCaprio is even acting in this movie. Like, part of me honestly believes that Leonardo DiCaprio just shed himself all of his clothes, went into the blistering cold, got mauled by a bear, and just struggled to survive after he did it. He's that raw, unflinching, gritty, immersive in this character. Congratulations, my boy Leo. You have definitely earned your Oscar for The Revenant. Just please, don't ever eat raw bison liver ever again.
Number 4.
2018. Great year for black nominees at the Oscars. To Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse winning Best Animated Feature, to Mahershala Ali and Regina King winning acting Oscars, to Black Panther even being nominated for Best Picture. This was a great year for black talent at the Academy Awards, and it's one that's frankly been very much overdue. But the win that was the most satisfying of the night, hands down, the one that was the most deserved, the most earned, and the most overdue, was Spike Lee. Because Spike Lee wrote and directed the 2018 crime thriller Black Klansman, a movie about Ron Stallworth, a Colorado police detective that successfully infiltrated the KKK. Wild, bizarre, crazy, out there experience that happens to be based on a true story. And Spike Lee nails this movie, man. As a director, as a filmmaker, as a writer. He takes that bizarre strangeness of this story and complements it nicely with Black power and struggle in America. He's especially deserving of this win in particular, especially when you look at how many times he's already been overlooked by the Academy. From movies ranging from Do the Right Thing, Four Little Girls, Malcolm X, up until BlacKkKlansman. And even when he was nominated this year, I was still worried the Academy was going to take the Oscar from him anyway. But I am glad he won Best Adapted Screenplay for this movie. I am glad he finally won his Oscar, and I'm very happy he won it for BlacKkKlansman.
Number 3.
In all of Academy Awards history, there's only a handful that have won more than 3 acting Oscars. 2 of which won them this decade, and one of them is Meryl Streep. The other actor to have won 3 Oscars this decade is Daniel Day-Lewis. And he is definitely deserving of that honor. From My Left Foot to There Will Be Blood, he's completely sold himself and immersed himself into every single character, to the point you don't even recognize him on screen. Case in point, portraying the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. For the entire runtime of the movie, Daniel Day-Lewis completely erases any part of him that is resemblant of himself and commits that energy to bringing Abraham Lincoln back from the dead for this movie. He's so great at portraying the soft-spoken, quiet, humble persona that is Abraham Lincoln. But he has much stronger moments where Lincoln really steps in to be commanding and strong-willed as President of the United States. Daniel Day-Lewis as Abraham Lincoln is not only my favorite Oscar performance this decade, it's my favorite performance of the decade, period. And he did an absolute brilliant job portraying the greatest president the United States has ever had.
Number 2.
When it comes to music, there's no shortage of industry titans that really bring a lot to the industry. Alejandro Desplat, Thomas Newman, Michael Giacchino, Hans Zimmer, John Williams. But if I had to pick the best win this decade, like if I had to pick the one that I was most happiest to see win an Oscar, it would have to be Ennio Morricone for The Hateful Eight. Ennio Morricone delivers a haunting, eerie, unsettling, just chilling soundtrack for this film about a group of killers trying to find out which one's going to betray them first. From the first moment this movie opens up, his music sends chills down your spine. From the horns playing the eerie and haunting melody, to the strings slowly building up tension, to the bass drums coming in and just pounding like a heartbeat. This is a great soundtrack that really sets up the tone and the mood for the rest of the movie going forward. And it's not like Ennio Morricone hasn't done great work like this before. I mean, shoot, his theme for The Good and the Bad and the Ugly will define spaghetti westerns forever. Ennio Morricone truly is an outstanding musician for his time. And I'm genuinely happy it has led up to him winning his first and only Oscar for The Hateful Eight. Especially when you remember that he passed away earlier this year. So when you think about it, The Hateful Eight was really his last chance to win an Oscar. He couldn't have won it for a better movie. He couldn't have won it for a better soundtrack. Ennio Morricone, thank you for blessing us with your music for all of these wonderful years.
Number 1.
If there is a guy that has truly deserved respite the most from the Academy Awards, it is without a doubt Roger Deakins. This guy has been nominated 13 times by the Academy Awards for over 20 years. From The Shawshank Redemption, to Fargo, to No Country for Old Men, to Skyfall. It looked like he was never going to win. But thank God and the heavens that he finally won back-to-back Oscars in 2017 and 2019. Blade Runner 2049 in 1917 is arguably some of his best work out there, both for very different reasons. For one thing, Blade Runner 2049, just like many of his other films, he does a great job at paying attention to the environments around his characters. He really uses the environments and the cinematography to contrast with the characters and say something profound about their journeys. But then he comes on board for 1917. He's just like, oh, you thought Blade Runner was my masterwork. Oh no. 1917 is just as profound, it's just as creative, and just as immersive as Deakins' cinematography in Blade Runner 2049 was, except the whole thing was filmed and edited to look like one single shot. And this would be one thing if it was just like a standard camera like this, you know, just have a camera stand in place and have people just act out in front of it. But that's not what Deakins does at all. He does very meticulous movements, meticulous angles, meticulous pans that really kind of follows these soldiers as they journey across the German front lines. It shocks you at how long the takes is and how masterful all of it flows together. Roger Deakins delivered amazing movies with 1917 and Blade Runner 2049. He did amazing camera work, amazing cinematography, amazing framing. He was the most worthy nominee, he was the most worthy winner, he was the most worthy cinematographer, and he is, in my view, the most worthy Oscar winner this decade. Congratulations, Roger Deakins. You truly and earnestly deserved it. Okay, guys. That has been my list. Did you agree with my selections? Did you disagree with them? Which wins really spoke to you the most? What have been your favorite Oscar moments from this decade? Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys at the movies. Whenever the movie theaters decide to open up. I don't know when on earth that's happening, sometime in 2021.
And the Academy Award for Best Picture.
You're impossible. Come on. La La Land.
No, there's a mistake. Moonlight, you guys won Best Picture. This is not a joke. Moonlight has won Best Picture. Moonlight, Best Picture. Personally, I blame Steve Harvey.